Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Wealth Down with me, your host Norbert BM, bringing you the top economic news you need to know before the bell. So let's get started with the top themes in focus. That is Taiwan semiconductors. You can see, but TSMC reported earnings yesterday and it sent the stock flying. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about future earnings that are going to be released today. We're going to take a look at the economy with S&P, Nasdaq, and the futures markets, of course. And we're going to take a look at the economic events that are important today. So let's get started. First things first with the S&P 500 closing up just a tinge negative yesterday due to a couple of complications. If you take a look at the heat map from yesterday, you can see that most of the sectors, actually all of the sectors, are confused, meaning oil was slightly up and down, consumer non-durables were up and down. Of course, technology again soaring with Nvidia leading the way, but in technology services, we saw more red than green. We also had finances. A couple of small banks reported, like Truist Financials reported yesterday. They had beat on earnings, beat on revenue, and still they were down like 4% after the bell. Blackstone also reported earnings yesterday, and it was up a lot. So let's just take a look at S&P futures. They are pointing up today. They're pointing to open up, so no worries there. The future market, the Nasdaq closed up in the positive side yesterday, but with only 0.08 due to, as I just said, this crazy chart of up and down, a mixed sentiment in the technology and electronics industry. The Nasdaq futures are currently pointing up with 0.37%, and the Dow Jones closed up yesterday in a positive with 0.37, actually being the best one of the three. Let's take a look at the economic calendar for today. We already had, take a look here, we already had from Japan the core inflation rate report year to year, and it came in worse than expected with 0.1%. Forecasted was 0.2, and it came in with forecasted was 2.3, and it came in with 2.4. Then we have also from China housing price index. It came in at minus 5.7%. We also had GDP reports from China, all came in pretty much worse than expected. Then we have from the United Kingdom, they already reported retail sales coming in at 0.3, expected was minus 0.3. Retail sales also month to month and year to year were better. And from the US, we have in a couple of minutes the building permits coming out, actually before the bell at 8:30 before the bell. We're going to have building permits, housing starts, and we're also going to have the monthly budget statement from the US. And then we have looking forward on the week ahead or on the weekend, we have from China the FDA report year to year. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the economic events. As we could take a look at oil, we can see that oil is again tumbling down in the 70 range, but trying to maintain its 70 price there. So after there's no need for growth in consumption, which is kind of worrying actually, we can see that oil is steadily going down. Also, we're getting in that weaker season of the year where production is pretty much throttled after we had that big, we're under 70 right now. After we had that big surge in the oil prices of July, oil is now coming down. Let's see, we have the biggest price, somewhere in July with $83 a barrel for WTI crude. Let's take a look at gold. Gold is again going for all-time highs. Once again, gold is just surging. Pretty much has to do with weaker dollar. So let's take a look at dollars. The forex market, well, it's pretty much undecided. Euro is up, pound is up, and Japanese yen is down. Okay, let's also take a final look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is soaring. It had a really, really good month. Bitcoin is pretty much up at where it was before the August crash at 68,000, 69, almost 70,000. Didn't reach the 70,000 mark. Maybe it's going to reach it this month or shortly after the election. So stay tuned for more updates on Bitcoin. We are expecting a pretty big jump in Bitcoin price if the right person will be elected. The right person for Bitcoin, I mean. Okay, now let's jump into earnings. We have earnings reporting from Procter & Gamble. They are going to report before the bell. And also today is the last day they can buy before the bell, actually, before they report earnings, can buy Procter & Gamble and receive their dividend. They're currently yielding, let me just take a look here, financials, and they're currently yielding a $1.01 dividend per share, and they have a 2.26 dividend yield in the year. So Procter & Gamble is expected to report pretty good earnings today. We're definitely going to update you on that later on in the day. Next, we're expecting earnings from American Express, which pretty much up in the pre-market. Also, this is one of those that is going to set the tone for all credit cards. So Visa, American Express, and of course MasterCard. If Visa comes out good, then the cards will explode. That's pretty much certain. And then last but not least, we also have earnings report from one of the old drillers, and that is Schlumberger or Schlumberger. I don't know how to pronounce it. Yes, I do know how to pronounce it. Schlumberger, I believe. They are up in the pre-market, but they're pretty much down 16% year to date, and in the entire year they are down 27%. So with oil prices sinking thinking they do not want to drill because they get less money. Okay, so now let's talk about TSMC, or ticker symbol TSM on the Nasdaq. TSMC reported earnings yesterday with pretty much hitting the ball out of the park. Were up yesterday almost 10%. Look here, they were up almost 10%. They're up 131% in the year. We already saw TSMC. So big loss on our part. We should have maintained our position in TSMC, but hey, mistakes were made. We're still considering TSMC extremely risky investments due to the China situation. So we bought it, we sold it with profits. We're happy. Could have we made more profits? Yes, we could, but life is life. Okay, so they reported earnings yesterday, surprising the market. The index heavily gained as Taiwan, also the entire Taiwanese index gained 1.9% on their earnings report. Now, if you don't know, TSMC is one of the biggest producers of chips out there. The demand for the TSMC 3 nanometer chip soared in the first quarter, with their revenue contribution rising 20% from 15% in the second quarter and 6% from a year ago. So the company guided that their fourth quarter revenue will be roughly a $26.1 billion US dollars from a $26.9 billion, with the gross profit margin expected to be somewhere about 57 to 59%. So this is really interesting because ASML, the company that produces those lithography machines that are going to be delivered to TSMC, which they produce those chips, they fell. ASML has had their biggest fall in its entire history, I believe. Now, TSMC is a high performance computing segment, which includes AI chips, of course, and it's made up 51% of their overall revenue in the fourth quarter. Now, the company expects its revenue from AI related servers and processors to triple this year, accounting for about 15% of its total revenue. So major TSMC chip equipment suppliers like ASML reported poor results early this week and wanted that while demand for the AI remains strong, the recovery in some parts of the industry may stretch into the next year. And they actually mean with that cars, because BMW, Volkswagen, and so on and so on, they are not producing enough cars because they're pretty much behind on the electric car. So pretty much keep a good eye on TSMC and on ASML. I do believe that ASML is going to have a big recovery, but hey, who am I to predict the future? Because I'm not a financial advisor. Don't listen to me. So once again, thank you so much for watching. My name is Norbert BM. Please hit that like button and share this video with others. Also subscribe to the channel and click that notification bell in order to get notified when we post new videos like this. We post on Monday to Friday, and then on Saturday or Sunday, sometimes we post our portfolio review with what we bought, what we sold, why we did it, and what is the risk assessment for the market for the upcoming week. This being said, I'm Norbert BM. Take care. Bye-bye.